All right, good old story here that you've probably heard many, many times. I suppose you got it marked in your Bible. Somebody spoke from there, and you might have got a note there somewhere in there. We're not all good Samaritans, and certainly we're not all thieves. But here, Jesus takes the simplest little story and makes a great lesson out of it. It's such a great lesson. Sometimes it's so simple, so plain, it goes over our heads. But here, he tells a man, he says, this man was trying to justify himself. He said, I'm great. Do you ever think as a Christian, I'm great? I do good. I'm proud of myself. When we get to that point, we get to the point that Jesus is trying to make here, we need help. When we get to the so blown up in our own heart and lives that we think we're bubbling up here and everybody else is down here, we are down here and everybody else is up here. So this man trying to justify himself to Jesus Christ, if you could imagine. And Jesus uses this illustration. Here is a man left Jerusalem, went to Jericho. They tell us about 7 miles downhill, a mile elevation. Jericho was a very wicked city. I mean, every nightclub and every hoodlum in the world was headquartered there. Jesus only went there one time. The Bible says he was traveling back through. He came to Jericho and he passed through and left. He didn't hang around very long. Met Zacchaeus on the way out of town. But there's some places, probably in the state of Texas, we should not go. Wicked places. And certainly there's good places. But Jesus was telling this man that felt so proud of who he was, this is the way we should be. And he gives an illustration. First of all, here is this man going to Jericho. Now you could say everybody knew about Jericho. You don't go there. You don't go there by yourself. That's stupid. There's thieves all up and down those roads, that winding road going downhill to Jericho. And it's just like certain parts of even our city or state, town, country. Good Christians shouldn't be going there. You know better. But this man decided he wanted to go there by himself. I mean, didn't even travel with companions. Went solo on the Jericho road, winding down, headed for trouble. And some may say, well, don't worry about him. He had it coming. If you're that stupid, go down there by yourself. So what? But here, whatever the reason was, we don't know. But he was traveling alone by himself, going down to Jericho. He was seeking something. But he ran into a little thing called a thief. Thief. They look at life as what yours is mine, and I'll take it if I can get it. You leave it loose. And I suppose every one of us have got our house locked right now. Anybody here got to open out? I'm going to head over there right after service. We lock our houses. And I was telling the church last week about my wife bad about it. I carry her out the garbage, she locks the house. Go check the mail, she'll lock the house. I told her, I'm going to take over lock all this house we got. Why are you just locking the door? A lot of nice people in the world, though. They're not all thieves out here. But thieves are there. That's their life. They're proud of themselves. The bigger package they can steal, they brag among their brethren. Boy, I took this from them. They were dumb. In our lives, we meet that person that says, what yours is mine, and I'm going to take it if I can. Better watch me. keep close. Thieves are in our streets. In Vidor, Texas, we've got thieves loose on the streets right here in this town. They're in the courtroom. They may have a big robe and white collar up there. They're there. They're in our government. Many political people take bribes and offerings to sway the decisions here and there. That's a thief, doing it for themselves. They're in our hospitals. They steal organs. You know, a doctor, I was talking to a patient the other day, they stole an organ out of a body without permission. I'm sure they sold it to somebody. They're in our schools. I guess Janine don't run into any of those, but in our school system, and even in leadership, there's thieves there. They'll take what they can and think, it's mine if I can get it. So we're surrounded by them. And maybe in our churches. Do you think, start with a pastor, you think a pastor would steal from a church? Raise your hand if you think that's true. They're human. And if we give way to this attitude of thievery, we'll do it and talk about others. In the church, could be in the deaconship, could be in the membership. Churches, gossipers, things that you steal other people's lives in so many ways. So there are thieves that interact with us. They're trying to steal from us and can't take it if they can. But it's so sad. And people get burned out on church. As we're trying to get a church built back, we're trying to invite everybody you meet. You never know. I was out on Level Street the other day, talking to a grandfather and granddaughter. Came in the store up there. They were looking, so I talked, trying to ask where they're always at. Where are you from? Where are you from? He said, Vidor. Hagersburg. Where do you go to church? Well, we're not going. I told him at our church, you ought to come see us. We got a couple of seats left. You better hurry. He said, you know, I know. I really should. I used to be in church. I was a youth pastor over there at Central Baptist. I don't know. You might know the guy. I don't know his name. But I didn't get back at church. I'm thinking, here's a grandfather with a grandchild in a store. Even if you don't go for yourself, look like you want your children and grandchildren to come and go. But there's things that can distract you. He's no different than anybody else. If you take your eyes off the Lord, you can get distracted real easy and attracted to things. Good people could be very productive in a church, helping us. But somehow they got beaten up. They took the Jericho Road. Maybe by themselves, and maybe they caused it. So we have to ask, what type of people are we? God can and will forgive you. Even on the cross, with all the torment, we've been studying about that in class this morning. Man, that was torture beyond comparison. Beaten, mocked, shamed, nailed to that cross and put up there for public display. Still the people mocked him, shamed him, threw stuff at him on the cross. This is Jesus giving his whole heart and life for those same people. I'll pay the sin debt for you if you'll turn to God. What a trade that would be. We are natural born sinners. It's in our DNA. Our grandfather and grandmother sinned badly, got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. All generations from them, we got the sin nature. It's so easy to commit sin. We have to rebel against the sin and come to Jesus Christ. But there is a natural portion of our lives that we experience where we either are a beater-upper or want to be a beater-upper. I suppose some people in that wreck there was thinking about the other guy in the car. I wish I was on Fannin Street Boulevard a while back, coming out of Fannin Street, 11th Street, and got the green light and went out. Boy, I got T-boned right there. 86-year-old man coming down 11th Street from Port Osborne. He just blasted me right in the side of the car. Luckily, there's a black lady over there parked in the car, and boy, she jumped out. You had the green light. She was preaching to me. I said, I know I had the green light. I said, you go tell that policeman that over there. Anyway, I talked to him later. Nice old fellow. I don't know where his mind was, but easing down the street. He didn't mean to do it, but he did it. And I suspect a lot of thieves don't get up in the morning, I'm going to go steal something. They might. I don't know. But it may not be an impulsive thing. It may be planned. I'm going to go steal. You don't know. So, are you a beater-upper? In some sense, I guess we all have a portion of beater-upper types. If you had disagreements with husbands and wives and parents and children, they don't always obey the way they should. There is that problem between people. Some people are beater-uppers. They're a thief. They practice thievery. And many of us do it by accident or else happenstance. We do it without even thinking. But this is what Jesus, he pulled this account out. He's telling a story. We just got the intro part here. This man said he was willing to justify himself unto Jesus. And he asked, who is my neighbor? Do you have a neighbor? Who is it? Who is that neighbor of yours? And Jesus is telling him first about one bad neighbor, a beater-upper. They may not run in herds, they may be single, could be in groups, but they're out to hurt and take something from you. They're beater-uppers. That's part of life. It just amazes me to look at just, the roster of even the illegals. There's a lot of illegals in the country that's corrupt, thieves, murderers, everything else. And there's a lot of Americans the same way. They've allowed Satan to grab their life and look at it one moment at a time and get ahead, grab it and go, without thinking about the future. And this man, for whatever reason, he either didn't know anything about the Jericho Road, or he knew about it, and he said, well, I really got to get down there for that buffet line down there, maybe. Maybe it's a gambling house. Maybe it's the spa, the public baths they had there. Whatever reason, he was on the Jericho Road. And thieves robbed him. They wanted what he had. Didn't want him, just wanted what they had. So, Jesus said, first of all, you and I this week, we're going to meet some beater-uppers. We're going to meet somebody that just as soon see you beat up as anything else. I care a little about you. I want what you got. And that's it. I don't care about you. Then he says in verse 32, well, 31, he says, and by chance there came a certain priest. You know, a priest got the collar on. He was a righteous type person. Sometimes we get dressed up when we go to church and see somebody broken down in the yard. I can't help them right now. I'm on the way to church. And maybe sometimes our form of religion, we may be on our way to church. Somebody needs help. I really can't help them now. I'm on church. I'm doing godly things. So the priest saw him and passed by on the other side like he didn't see him, just ignored him. And then his supervisor, Levi. These are the ones a little more educated. They operated on a little higher plane. They understand the deeper things of God in the scripture. He knew it. When he came by, same place, looked at him, and passed by. My goodness. How could a dignified person like that, he's thinking, stoop so low to get involved with a thief victim? He passed by on the other side. He stayed clear of trying to help a person. We might be guilty sometimes. You might know a person that needs help and you're going somewhere. I'm going to go this way, but I feel bad about them, but I'd like to help them, but I'm on my way somewhere. This Levi, I don't know what his occasion was, what he was doing on the Jericho Road, but some reason he was headed down there. And he looked, and he passed by just like the thieves that beat him up, operating in their philosophy. The thief says, what's yours is mine, and I'll take it if I can. Everything is open for grabs. So we got a priest and we got a prophet, religious person. In another place in the Bible, Matthew 22:23 says, Jesus was scolding some folks. He said, you pay your tithes, but you ignore the weightier things of life. Some people are so caught up, I'm a tither. I give that tithe, but I don't really help a neighbor. I'm not going to stop and help somebody that's out of our way. This is what Jesus is speaking about. They don't care about law and judgment. Formal religion. There's a lot of religious folks this morning that's traveling the roads, doing a lot of things. Sunday is generally the day of worship. They're not in church today. There is, in our nation, I just saw some stats again the other day. America has dropped below the 50% Christianity rate. Used to be well above Christianity, but now smaller and smaller. People don't see the need to go to church. We get so heavenly minded, we're no earthly good there. We just think about heaven and that's it. They're out there. And you get people find all kinds of reasons not to go to church. Why do you go to church? Few people ever think about Jesus came, lived, died, rose again on our behalf. You don't have to have a perfect life to get to heaven. And because we're imperfect, if we get in, it's got to be through Jesus Christ. He died that life. If you can imagine not one sin. He never got mad at his neighbor, or neighbor's dog barking, or slap him upside the head or something. That's not Jesus Christ. How could that be? That may be the way we want to think of ourselves, but when it happens, we give in to our feelings and emotions. And we do things. That's embarrassing. And we see needs like empty seats. Let it go. I'm looking for the packed house. I'm looking for the bright lights, the big bands, the lights show going on and off. That's what I want. I want to be fed. I don't want to feed. That's the way people shop at churches. What can you do for me? Well, we got a nice big choir. Oh, I love that. I won't come back. That's a gimme. Well, they got nice people. Oh, I like nice people. I'm going to go back. And few people say, I want to serve. I see they need. That poor choir sounded terrible. I want to come and help them. Folks are real unfriendly. I want to go help them, show them how to be friendly. There's a lot of people looking for handouts in churches, but they're not looking for a job application. I don't want to go and do it. You can see their need, but I don't want to go there. They need that help. I want to find one that's full, filled here, doing everything. So we pass up. We're passer-uppers. When you obviously see something that needs fixed and you don't participate to fix it, you're a passer-upper. And many times we probably all got jobs around the house, especially you men and wives help me out there, that things need fixed. They come get me. I told you before, I got a rapport with one of the doctors, and I got one that works with me. He writes out my prescription, what I need. I said, Doc, put on there, no housework for 10 days, please. I said, I need to show this to my wife. And so I bring it home and show her. He does. He goes along with it. He said, you're going to get me in trouble. And he said, he'll put the medicine down and said, no housework for 10 days. So I'm free. I said, just sit and watch. But we do that with churches. They need help. I won't go there. Not good. Here is one that really blows me out. I'm going to go there. I can sit and listen to that. I can sit there. I don't have to do anything. Take. That's the looking out for yourself types. That's the passer-upper. I'm not going to go help them. I got my own thoughts, my ideals. And then Jesus didn't leave the story there. He went down and told about this Samaritan. I don't know if you studied the Samaritan population. When the Jews took over Canaan land and they drove out the enemies, they divided out the tribes. Some of the tribes, rather than drive them out, he said, you know, these people, they're not bad. Do you have any unchristian friends? You know, they're all right. I want to befriend them. Well, so the Jews, those Jews, they call them Samaritans because they played halfway. I know I believe in God and all this side, but I like the neighborhood, these folks. They're halfway. A lot of Jews, when they went from Jerusalem up to Galilee, you'd normally go through Samaria, but they crossed the Jordan River and go up, come in that way. So I didn't want to go there. They looked down on Samaritans. Jesus put this in his story. This guy was a Samaritan. He came down the road. Now we got a priest, a Levite. I mean, ones you think would just leap at a chance to help, they passed up. But this guy stopped and helped him. And he just went beyond. The Samaritan, he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion in his heart for him, that poor guy. And he went to him, bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his beast. You ride my dog, I'll just leave you down there. And brought him to the inn and took care of him. This is what makes this story so classic. We just call it the Good Samaritan. He was looked down on by the pure Jews, half Jewish, half whatever religion they had. Real Jews didn't want to fool with them, avoid them, stay away from them. But Jesus says in your face, right here is a Samaritan. This is in your heart. You know, it doesn't really matter how dignified you think you are or how elevated you are above others. We're just human beings. If you read enough Bible, you're going to find out you're a sinner. Isn't that something? You're thinking, oh, wow, I thought maybe I was up here. But the Bible says every last one of us, we are sinners. And we may get better programs and get into churches and get our name on all kind of honor rolls, but we're sinners. We've got a sin nature. And when we're born again, we meet Jesus Christ and find out he paid the sin debt for us. And we accept that. But you know what? We're still sinners. Isn't that something? How could you take a man's life, perfect Lamb of God, put on the cross? I'll take that guilt. But we're sinners yet. We still do things. You ever get mad at yourself? And ask, why did I do that? That was so stupid. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have went there. I shouldn't have done something. We got that nature about us. And I don't care how dignified you are, whether you're a singer or a preacher or usher or whatever it is about a church, we're not elevated above everybody else. Folks, we're all sinners, every last one of us. When you're born again, you're still a sinner. You just got your sin debt paid for. When you're honest to goodness, look at the life of Jesus Christ, that perfect Lamb of God. And to find out that the only reason he was down here as a gift to you, have you ever received that gift? It's not going to make you a perfect person. It's a gift. And we take that gift from God. But there comes with it a desire in our heart to change direction. There's something about being born again. You're going south, makes you want to go north. It's a turnaround for you. You're not perfect. You still need that gift of God all the way through. So we have to decide in life, are we a beater-upper or are we a picker-upper? How would each one be classified? How would your family classify you? I know that person. They think they're something, but they're a beater-upper. And sometimes we may think ourselves very lowly. And some may think, I know that person. Well, they're uplifting and they go about doing good. Jesus had a lot of good traits. And we follow Jesus and we try to imitate Jesus. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus think? And we try to pattern our life. Now we're going to come up short. You've never met a perfect human being down here. We're sinners. Isn't that something? And some people might think they may be a little on the perfect side. But if we had a chance to show them, we can straighten it out for them. But in their thoughts, this is what I am. But we're at the bottom of the barrel. Every last person you've ever met needs their sins forgiven. The only one can do it is the perfect one that paid the price and say, you're free. Thank God I'm free. Free of that, you got that court date coming. Where are you going to spend eternity? That's a big decision. You don't have to wait. You can't wait till you die to determine it. It's today. You've got to decide now, where are you going to spend eternity? We spent some time in the class this morning talking about this. What do you know? The world don't know anything but death. So they say, well, it's a grave and it's over. A lot of funerals, it's over now. Go home, continue life. It's not over. Something is happening to that person. So, this morning we're going to have a song. We sure miss our piano player, but this song that we have to use tape songs. Sometimes a Chinese person wrote them and played the Chinese piano, maybe a Spanish piano or something that don't sound right because it's Southern gospel.